Tu es la vague, tu es la mer.
Hello. So this week I'm going to be touching on stir fries, and that's sort of an umbrella term referring to cooking on really high heat with a fair amount of oil. We're not going to be using olive oil because it smokes at around 350 degrees, and so we'll need something like safflower oil is what I use, and that's a great oil. It's one of the highest smoke point oils. It's 450 degrees. So that's a great way to do it. I'm going to be starting this off in stages. So today we're going to be working with noodles and just vegetables. So we don't have to worry about cooking meat all the way through. We're going to sort of eliminate that worry in your mind. If you know how to make chicken breasts, you can certainly just do that on the side, cut it up, and then add it to the stir fry later. And I'll touch on when you could maybe add that in to incorporate it into your sauce so it sort of, assimilates into your dish more properly. And but that said, we're just going to touch on the basics of stir fries today. So sort of how to cut vegetables so they cook properly within the time frame that everything else will cook respectfully. And we're going to touch on how to make noodles and how to cook them, in keeping in mind that we need to recook them later along with our vegetables. And pretty simple stuff, honestly. As long as you have everything ready at your fingertips, you need to make sure all your prep is done. The noodles are cooked, 80% of the way through, and they're all ready to go right next to you. So you can just throw them into the pan one by one and keep everything moving, because we are working at a high heat, so this is a pretty high intensity thing. And but I think it's a great exercise to start getting into the mindset of focusing while you're cooking, like can't take your mind off of it, and sort of making sure that your whole prep list is done and you're ready to go and start cooking when it's time to do it. And that said, I'm super excited to do this because this is something I do all the time. I pretty much stir fry it. It's definitely my go-to whenever I can't think of anything else to cook or I just have leftovers. And it's just near and dear to my heart. Yeah, I really enjoy making stir fries. I just love the speed of it. I love being able to just, knock out the prep and just throw everything in the pan, real high heat, get it busted out real quick. And but that said, I think it's time to get cooking. And per usual, we're going to start our episode off with a little ingredient list and a little shimmy there. Coming in hot, we got a red bell pepper. Not going to use all of it, but it's great for color. I like the flavor too. Green bell pepper. A medium yellow onion. Fresno chili, super good. Like everything hot. A couple baby bok choy, just mosey on out of here with those. And acting like nothing happened in that last bit, we're gonna get some garlic. Udon noodles, super good for stir fries. And I'll touch on a few things about how we're gonna use those later. And some cremini mushrooms. Type of mushroom doesn't matter. I just like those because they're kind of meaty. Low sodium soy sauce and sesame oil. Toasted sesame oil works too. It's really good. So starting off, just going to julienne most of everything. We want everything pretty small because we're working on a really high heat. That allows it to cook quicker. This is really important to do because if you have really big pieces of bell pepper or really big pieces of mushroom or bok choy, like if you just threw the whole bok choy in there, you'd get some color on the outside, but it would be completely raw in the middle. So we need to be sort of conscious of these things while we're cooking. And this sort of awareness comes with, time, but just a nice julienne here. Always forget my deli cups. Anyway, moving on. Red bell pepper, and this is how I cut it when I just need maybe a little bit. Okay, maybe a little bit more. To the same effect, we're going to julienne that. Want it to be pretty consistent. And as previously mentioned, I do eat a fair amount of the bell pepper that I'm cooking with prior to cooking. I added that because it was just a super satisfying peel.
And we're going to julienne this. I hit it on the side like that just so it can create a more consistent sort of julienne, because the end piece typically tends to look like a little blade. And this is how you avoid that on the other side. Now with our bok choy, it would take a while to cook through. I should probably turn this so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to go straight down the middle, just start it and then drag it through. Again, start it, drag it through, and struggle turning that for whatever reason. Add an angle, probably 45. Start there and drag it through. Now for the first time ever keeping something else in frame, I'm just going to take the bottoms off of these. And get a coarse slice on these. Because we're not using meat, I want to have this have a great meatier texture. You want something with a little bit of bite to it. Moving on to our garlic. Nothing fancy here, just a quick slice. Now for Fresnos, make sure, or any pepper really, I usually just cut the top off, cut it down the middle, and then if you want it to be less hot, you can scoop the seeds out like this. And because unless you're biting into the pepper before you eat it, you never really know how hot they're going to be. Anyway, you want it to be pretty manageable. This adds great color too, so we're just going to run through this nice julienne. Now, for a stir-fry sauce, I would say it's predominantly going to start off with soy sauce. I use low sodium, so we've got about 1/3 cup of soy sauce here, and about 1.5 tablespoons worth of sesame oil. This is really basic, but this is sort of going to get you into the idea of how to just maybe wing a sauce. I put some water in it as well. This will help the soy sauce help prevent it from burning, which is really important. Again, on a high heat, it can become a problem. And there's me, being efficient in the kitchen, cleaning my spoon as I go. Next step is getting some water to boil, adding our udon noodles, bringing that to a simmer, being culturally specific and using chopsticks. After that's been simmering for a little while, we're going to grab one and taste it. And okay. I guess, alright. Okay. Alright. Then finally. Anyway, so those are about al dente. We want to cook them probably 80% of the way because we're about to add it back to the pan once the vegetables are done cooking. Again, fair amount of oil in. We're going to put in our mushrooms first because they're dense and we want to get some good color on them. And because I don't have a high output stove, I have to keep that in mind. So we're going to salt to sort of take some of the moisture out of the mushrooms, help them brown a little bit faster. I really just do this to work on my chopstick skills, and it's better than cleaning a pair of tongs, I guess. Once those have a good color, we're going to move them to the side, add a touch more oil because they're like sponges and they took all my oil. Add our garlic and Fresnos. This is really important in stir frying to add your aromatics in the beginning because this will flavor the oil. Now as soon as you start to smell those, put most of everything else in. Got our onions. I really want to caramelize those really nicely, but we're going to throw the bok choy in now because it takes a little while to cook. I'm making sure that they're making solid contact with the pan because I want them to get not only good color, but actually start to cook through. If you see that the pan's getting a little dry at the bottom, add some more oil. You want to hear this noise. It shouldn't be a quiet pan by any means. Might get a little smoky, but that's okay. So we're just going to toss everything. I wanted the bell peppers to have a bit more crunch, so I added them towards the end here. Everything's looking pretty close to done, so I'm going to add in our noodles that have been drained. We're going to add in majority of our sauce. I like to eyeball it just to make sure it doesn't become soupy. We're just looking to coat the noodles, not to have a broth here. Move that around, make sure everything's well incorporated. And look how velvety that is. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Wow. Anyway, so now that you've got your stir fry ready, plate it up. Maybe hit record when you're doing it. I wouldn't know anything about that.
But I do know that you should try making this stir fry. It turned out really great. And here's Cody.
If you want to see more of that and me cooking, please like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.